with us about adverse weather conditions, your responsibilities in those conditions. And let's talk about driving, something that we all have to relearn every year for some reason.
No, nobody
Snow's
remembers.
the first time. It's like, oh, what is happening? Let's talk about when you get in a collision and there's bad weather. You've told me before that sometimes police don't actually assign blame.
Right. So, well, they don't charge anyone.
Okay.
Right. So, from the police perspective, they are looking at is there a reasonable prospect of conviction either of a Highway Traffic Act violation or a criminal code violation or a bylaw infraction. Okay. So they're looking at the prospect of conviction, and sometimes they decide not to lay a charge for whatever reason. People come to us upset. The police didn't charge. I'm going to phone the police officer 15 times to tell him he should charge the other driver. Really, for your lawsuit, it doesn't matter if the other driver was charged or not. If you're hit from behind, you're hit from behind, and the general rules relating to fault and negligence will take care of you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't need to worry.
Well, is that because we have no fault?
No, it's just what the police do and what the criminal system doesn't dictate what happens in the civil arena.
All right.
Think about O.J. Simpson. He was acquitted in the criminal case and convicted, well, not convicted, found liable in the civil case. So you just have to think different standards. One doesn't dictate the other.
An investigation does help, though.
Yes, and I mean, the police will typically still do a diagram and will still typically say what happened, but they will just decide not to lay charges.
Right.
And so it's easier if they do. It's better for your case if they do, but you still have a case if they don't.
Now, we get to snow tires. What if I don't have those on? Is there some sort of culpability? Do I end up getting less of a reward in that way because it's like, oh, you didn't have snow tires?
Well, so when we're talking, that's contributory negligence we're talking about. So when you've done something that's contributed to your accident.
Okay.
Now, so let's say the example of snow tires. If the lack of snow tires played a role in the accident, then you could get dinged.
Okay.
But if they were irrelevant, if you were stopped and someone hit you from behind, then snow tires wouldn't have made a difference, so it doesn't enter into it.
Okay.
But certainly when I'm asking about winter accidents and when I'm asking the defendant, the person I think is at fault about the accident, I'm asking about the snow tires, I'm asking about how old they are, I'm asking about what the treads are.
Okay.
And I can think of at least one very serious accident where a Mustang in the winter went around a bend and basically went out of control, fishtailed into a car full of children. So snow tires are important, especially with a small car.
Right, and that Mustang she's speaking of is a rear-wheel drive car, and that's something I think would be necessity almost. Okay, so, and the other thing I wanted to ask about was clearing your vehicle of snow and visible things that stop your vision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't park in a garage, you have to spend that time. I mean, that's what our children are for, right? Send them out to clear off the car.
Yeah.
So, I use a broom if I have to. I use a broom on the front hood. Completely clear the window. Wait that extra few minutes for everything to get off there, because you don't. I mean, it's a terrible feeling to hit someone because you didn't see them.
Worst.
If you're braking and you just can't come to a stop, that's one thing. But when it's totally out of the blue and you just didn't see it, it's a terrible feeling.
Arm yourself now because it's dark this time of year.
Yes.
There's just less daylight hours. There are already so many things against us.
Yeah.
Why not clear off? And obviously it's the law as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
clear that car.
Yeah. I mean, speaking about the darkness too, like people walking their dogs, cyclists, winter cyclists, fearless winter cyclists.
Scary.
If I were a winter cyclist, which I'm not, I would triple the number of lights.
Okay. And reflective gear.
Reflective gear, lights on the front, lights on the back, lights on your helmet.
I've seen it. It's scary.
Be seen.
Okay.
Same thing walking your dog. Like, have a flashlight, have something on your dog. There are reflective leashes now. Be seen.
So that's even aside from personal injury. That's just in this city. We know we've had a history of problems. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. And if something does happen, a good idea to ask Brenda. AskBrenda.ca 613-233-4-LAW. And there's the address, 1443 Woodruff Avenue and 304 Oak.